If the baby monitor hadn't been recording, nobody would have believed what happened. Inside the Taylor family's home in Maple Ridge, Colorado, a father demanded their dog be removed immediately. A mother begged him to reconsider, and a single day of video footage revealed something so shocking, so emotional that it changed their family forever. From the first frame to the last, it captured moments of danger, loyalty, and love that would stay with the Taylors forever. Before we begin, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. The morning light filtered through the kitchen windows of the Taylor home, casting warm streaks across the countertops and bouncing off the polished hardwood floors. Pancakes sizzled in the skillet, coffee brewed in a quiet hiss, and voices rose louder than the clatter of dishes. "I'm done. Lisa, I'm serious this time. He's gone today." Ethan slammed his palm on the table, making the syrup bottle wobble dangerously. His voice cracked with frustration and fear, shaking the walls of the bright kitchen. Lisa held their 1-year-old daughter, Madison, close to her chest. Maddie's soft brown eyes darted from one parent to the other, reflecting confusion and worry. "You're overreacting, Ethan," Lisa argued, her voice laced with desperation. "Coda hasn't hurt anyone." "Not once." Coda, their 2-year-old Siberian Husky, lay on the living room carpet just beyond the kitchen archway. His black and white fur gleamed under the morning light, and his icy blue eyes were fixed like lasers on baby Madison. Every muscle in his body was relaxed, yet his posture radiated alertness, as if he were silently communicating. "I'm watching. I've got this. Overreacting?" Ethan snapped. "The dog follows her everywhere. Sleeps outside her nursery. Stares at her non-stop. Yesterday he put his paws on her crib. I'm not risking it." I called the shelter. "He's leaving today," Maddie whimpered, sensing the tension. Coda lifted his head slowly, ears perked, and let out a soft whine, his gaze never leaving her. "You don't understand him." "Ethan," Lisa said desperately, her voice trembling. "He's protecting her. He knows she's small. He knows she needs him." "Stop!" Ethan barked, his jaw tight. "He's a dog. Instinct is instinct, and instinct can be dangerous." It hadn't always been this way. Coda had been gentle since the moment he joined the family. When Madison cried at night, he would nudge her blanket closer with his nose, humming softly in his own dog way to calm her. Sometimes he'd lie beside the crib, allowing her tiny fingers to trace the patterns in his fur. But Ethan only noticed the moments that scared him, like the time Madison rolled toward the edge of the bed, and Coda had leaped up, bracing her with his body. Lisa saw a rescue. Ethan saw risk. Or the time Coda barked sharply in the hallway at night. Ethan thought the dog was being disruptive, but later Lisa discovered a loose wire behind the dresser. Coda had sensed danger. Even small, everyday moments showed Coda's attentiveness. When Madison learned to crawl, he followed her gently, guiding her away from furniture edges or cords. When she reached for the couch, he nudged her back softly with his snout. Even during feeding time, he waited patiently beside her high chair, never stealing a bite, just keeping watch. Every soft sigh and gentle tilt of his head was a signal. "I've got her." Every day Ethan's distrust grew, and every day Coda stayed near Madison anyway, eyes never leaving her. Ethan pointed toward the dog again. "Today, Lisa, no more excuses." Lisa inhaled shakily, then did something unexpected. "Fine, prove it." Ethan blinked. "What?" "Record him. Set up the baby monitor for 1 full day. Every angle, every room. We watch it all tonight. If Coda is really dangerous..." Her voice broke slightly. "Then tomorrow, I'll let you take him." Ethan stared at her. "And if he isn't?" "Then he stays." Ethan finally nodded. "Deal." Coda watched quietly from the living room, as if he understood exactly what was coming. His tail swished once, deliberately, almost like a silent promise. Ethan spent the next hour installing cameras, in the living room, the hallway, the nursery, the kitchen. He mounted the final camera above the crib. Lisa held Madison, trying to ignore the tightness in her chest, while her eyes darted to Coda, silently pleading, "Keep her safe." Coda stayed close, silent, watchful, a shadow of vigilance. At exactly 9 a.m., the cameras began rolling. At 9:12 a.m., Madison cried after dropping her pacifier. Coda appeared instantly, nudging the pacifier close through the crib bars. She calmed immediately, clutching it again. Coda stayed until she slept. At 10:03 a.m., a loud delivery truck rumbled outside and frightened Madison. Coda trotted over, nudged her stuffed giraffe toward her, and lay beside her until her sobs quieted. At 10:45 a.m., Lisa briefly stepped outside to grab the mail. Madison crawled toward the doorway leading to the stairs. Coda positioned himself strategically, his body acting as a barrier to the dangerous drop. He nudged Madison back into the safer area, then circled her playfully as if to say, "You're safe now." At 11:25 a.m., Madison crawled across the living room toward the fireplace. A small pile of matches had been left within reach. Coda intercepted her, gently blocking the area with his body and guiding her back to safety. Lisa didn't notice the incident at the time, but the camera captured every second. At 12:00 p.m., Madison discovered a pile of her soft blocks near the window. She tried to climb on them, wobbling dangerously. Coda nudged the pile gently, preventing a fall, then sat down beside her and nudged a block toward her, turning the moment into a game instead. Madison giggled, thinking she was inventing a new game with Coda. At 12:47 p.m., Lisa placed Madison on the bed to change her diaper. She stepped into the bathroom for just a moment. Madison rolled toward the edge, too close. Coda, sleeping on the floor, jumped up and slid his body under her right as she reached the edge. She settled safely against his fur. When Lisa returned, she smiled and kissed Coda on the head, unaware that the camera had caught everything. At 1:30 p.m., Madison attempted to pull a small chair toward the bookshelf to reach her picture books. Coda nudged the chair away with a soft growl and sat beside her, keeping her attention on a nearby stuffed toy instead. The camera captured Madison's delighted laughter, unaware of the near danger. At 2:18 p.m., Madison found a loose Lego on the floor. As she crawled toward it, Coda gently nudged it away with his nose and rolled over beside her to keep her occupied with a squeaky toy instead. Madison squealed with delight, thinking it was a game. At 3:10 p.m., Madison crawled toward a closet with a slightly open door. Inside, a bottle of cleaning spray lay within reach. Before she could touch it, Coda nudged the door shut and sat guard until she crawled away. At 4:00 p.m., Madison wandered into the hallway near the stairs. Coda's ears pricked instantly. He stepped behind her, letting her explore while remaining physically between her and any danger. A loose rug threatened to slip, but Coda leaned against her lightly, steadying her without her noticing. At 4:45 p.m., Madison toppled backward while learning to stand near the couch. Coda caught her by bracing himself behind her, preventing her from hitting the floor. Her tiny giggles filled the room. At 5:32 p.m., Madison sat in her high chair in the kitchen, giggling as she dropped her spoon. Coda picked it up carefully each time and placed it in her lap. She laughed so hard Lisa had to stop cooking to record the moment on her phone. But none of these clips compared to what happened that night. At 7:58 p.m., Madison slept in her crib. The nursery glowed softly under the warm lamp. Coda lay near the door, eyes half closed but alert. Then a faint cracking sound echoed through the room, too soft for humans to notice. Coda heard it instantly. He stood up sharply, ears pinned forward, muscles tense. The camera caught the next sound clearly, a creaking, then a low groan. The front left rail of the crib was loosening. The metal bolt, old and slightly rusted, slipped out of the bracket. Madison rolled closer in her sleep. Coda lunged forward in a blur of black and white fur. He wedged his head, then his shoulders, under the failing rail. The wood dropped onto his back, hard, but he kept pushing upward. His muscles trembled as he held the rail in place, refusing to let it collapse. Madison slept peacefully, unaware that without Coda she might have been trapped or injured. The rail creaked again. Coda pressed harder, lifting it back into place using only his body weight. He didn't move until Madison rolled to the far side of the crib. Then he backed away slowly and stayed seated beside the crib for the rest of the night, eyes wide open, guarding her until morning. When the day ended, Ethan and Lisa sat down on the couch to watch the recorded footage. Lisa clasped her hands tightly. Ethan crossed his arms, determined to prove his point. They watched the pacifier moment, the giraffe moment, the Lego interception, the diaper change rescue, the chair block intervention, the falling moment, the closet door. The high chair spoon game. Hours of calmness, gentleness, patience. With each clip, Ethan's shoulders lowered, his expression softened. And then they reached the final clip, the crib rail incident. Lisa gasped and covered her mouth. Ethan sat forward, stunned, shaking his head as tears formed in his eyes. Is the crib breaking?" he whispered. The clip showed Coda bracing the collapsing rail with his body while Madison slept just inches away. When the recording ended, Ethan didn't speak for several seconds. Then he stood, walked to where Coda was lying outside the nursery, and knelt beside him. Coda lifted his head slowly. "I'm so sorry, boy," Ethan whispered, voice trembling. "I was wrong. You're not just a dog. You're her protector, your family." Coda pressed his head into Ethan's chest, accepting the apology without hesitation. The next morning felt different. Madison tapped her tiny hands on Coda's fur as he lay beside her. Lisa hummed while she made breakfast. Ethan walked over, knelt, and scratched behind Coda's ears. "You're not going anywhere," he said softly. "Not today. Not ever." Madison squealed happily and Coda wagged his tail. From that day forward, nobody in the Taylor home doubted who the real guardian of the family was. Every small step Madison took, Coda was there. Every squeal, every stumble, every nap. He never left her side. Ethan finally saw that love isn't always loud, and sometimes the greatest protection comes in the quiet, constant presence of someone who truly cares. If this story touched your heart, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another incredible moment like this. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever seen a pet act like a true hero? And don't forget to turn on notifications so you'll always catch these amazing real-life stories of love, loyalty, and bravery.